The second set in the Odyssey block, Torment, consists of 143 cards and was released on February 8, 2002. The set symbol looks like some sort of circular serpent sort of thing. Officially, it's a nightmare, which is meant to evoke the set's dark themes. We're not ones to argue. Nightmare, serpent,
whatever.
Torment is both a prequel and a sequel to Odyssey, telling the backstory of the character Chainer while also picking up where the Odyssey story leaves off, with all of the events of the first set and story taking place simultaneously as many of those in Torment.
Did you get all that?
The complete tale can be experienced by reading Scott McGo's novel Chainer's Torment. Aside from that, here's a brief summary.
Oh, goody.
Beginning before Kamal ever left his mountain home to seek fame and fortune, the story opens with a young Kabbalist named Chainer who is exploring an abandoned villa outside of Cabal City. He locates a mysterious relic and, ever loyal to the Cabal, takes it back with him. He presents the artifact to the First, the leader and patriarch of the organization, who accepts the gift and begins to take on a personal interest in Chainer's development within the Cabal. The First makes the artifact, called Mirari, the grand prize in a large pit fighting tournament as a way to lure fighters in. Among the first to arrive is the barbarian Kamal, and the First immediately sees great promise in the warrior. He commands Chainer to befriend the barbarian, and he does so quite easily. The First then sets Kamal up to be the tournament favorite and, in the end, his biggest moneymaker. Before the tournament can end, however, a Krosan dragon attacks and ruins the Cabal Patriarch's plans. During the draconic attack at the fighting pit, Chainer is assigned to protect the vault that contains, among other riches, the strange artifact he found. The dragon soon dealt with, the First names an avian lieutenant from the opposition group called the Order the ultimate winner and grants him any object of his choosing from the Cabal's coffers. He chooses the Mirari and departs home with three others, Kamal, the centaur Seaton, and merfolk ambassador Laquidus in pursuit. Chainer, however, stays behind and trains to become a champion pit fighter. In a pit fight, he faces two opponents from the nearby Pardic Mountains, Jessica, sister of Kamal, and Balthor, Kamal's mentor. The two knew of Kamal's participation in a recent tournament at the fighting pit and had come to Cabal City in order to locate him. Despite Jessica burning Chainer's arm during a bout bad enough that the Kabbalists required an artificial replacement, he provides the two with the information they seek. Content with knowledge that Kamal is alive and, as far as they're concerned, safe, the pair returns back to their mountain home. Shortly thereafter, Kamal returns to Cabal City. The Kabbalist known as Braids returns as well, Mirari in hand, having recently stolen the item from the Myrrh Kingdom. The orb is returned to the First, who, once again, puts the artifact up as a grand prize, this time in the Cabal's popular Anniversary Games. Kamal reunites with Chainer, and while the two train together in the pits in preparation for the games, other characters begin to plot. Ambassador Laquidus starts a civil war within the Myrrh Empire, taking advantage of the state of disarray the empire is in after its partial devastation from the Mirari. Seeking a political ally, he launches schemes with both the Cabal and the Order, independently promising each side exactly what they desire as he advances his own cause. The Order makes plans to infiltrate Cabal City, while the First provides Laquidus with a new champion to replace a merfolk's former one who had died during the Empire's disastrous Mirari event. Unfortunately for Laquidus, his efforts to rule over the Myrrh Empire are scuttled as the estranged Empress of the realm returns to her homeland, her forces ultimately overwhelming Laquidus's. The First also calls on Chainer to bring out Kamal's savage barbarian side, but before he can do this, the Cabal Patriarch first needs to rend Chainer of his mentor, Skellum, who is planning on taking the young Kabbalist into the Krosan Forest to finish his initiation within the Cabal. The First pulls this off by arranging a fixed fight in which Skellum is slain in the pits. Chainer is devastated by this loss, but decided to go through with the ritual anyhow. Kamal accompanies him in Skellum's place. Together, the pair travel to Krosa. While there, Chainer succeeds in becoming a full-fledged dementia summoner, killing and claiming countless of the forest's inhabitants. During the process, Chainer fell into a trance. While the Kabbalist is out, Kamal discovers a corpse of one of the forest's druids and is reminded of his old centaur friend, Seaton, and begins to wonder if he's made the right allegiances. When the two return to Cabal City, they find it under attack by the Order. They assist in repelling the invasion, with Chainer once again defending the Mirari. While he easily survived the attack, Kamal emerged seriously injured. The first sends Chainer into the camp to which the Order had retreated to after their failed attack. The Dementia Summoner kills everyone there. As a reward, the first permits Chainer to use the Mirari's power to heal his injured friend. Chainer's nightmarish magic do, indeed, heal Kamal's wounds, but instead of flesh, the barbarian's skin is replaced with the scales of a snake. Repulsed, Kamal tears and burns away the unnatural gifts from his friend and disappears. As time passes, Chainer begins to show signs of insanity, unable to sleep, and experiencing hallucinations. The summoner begins to plot revenge against the First for the death of his former mentor, Skellum. Using information he was able to dig up on the First's past, including his actual name, Chainer attempts to kill the Cabal Patriarch using the very artifact that he had found and given the man earlier, the Mirari. Despite the artifact's immense power, Chainer was unable to slay the seemingly immortal head of the Cabal, and instead exiles him to the undead-infested city of Aphedo. Chainer assumes leadership of the Cabal despite his growing madness and his increasing corruption from his repeated use of the mysterious Mirari. Despite the First's disappearance, the Cabal Anniversary Games proceed as planned. As his insanity grows, his control over the dementia creatures become more and more unstable. Before long, all of Cabal City is overrun by feral nightmares. Chainer finds glee in the chaos. It is now that his old friend, Kamal, comes back onto the scene. The barbarian attempts to snap his mad friend back into his sane mind by offering to fight him in the pit for old time's sake. Chainer, however, is lost to reason and summons all of his dementia creatures in the fighting pit all at once, intent on unleashing them upon his one-time friend. The Mirari, however, interferes, and instead of attacking Kamal, the nightmarish creatures fuse with the summoner. Before Kamal's own eyes, Chainer becomes a squirming mass of nightmare and corruption. Just as the summoner is about to meet his end, he has a flash of sanity. He realizes that the Mirari is too dangerous an artifact to ever be used. With his dying breath, he pleads with Kamal to take the relic and keep it safe and away from future misuse. Kamal buries his friend and departs from Cabal City, Mirari in tow. Meanwhile, Braids, who has received a vision to leave the city before Chainer's nightmares overran it, was traveling down a road away from the city. It is here that she finds the First, the exiled patriarch's nightmarish escorts deceased from Chainer's own passing. He sends the loyal Braids ahead to Aphedo to prepare the city for his arrival. Hence the story of Chainer's Torment ends. But there's so much more to tell about Torment as a set.
Oh, really?
For example, did you know that Torment is known as Magic the Gathering's Black Set? Why is this? Well, unlike pretty much every set before and since, which are more or less balanced between the colors, Torment was deliberately black-heavy due to its thematic and mechanical emphasis on the color. Of course, to make up for this, the number of non-black cards were greatly reduced. In fact, while the set has 40 black cards, there are only 28 blue, 28 red, 21 white, and 21 green cards, in addition to a handful of colorless cards such as the set's 5 non-basic lands. Despite the set's black cards nearly outnumbering any one non-black color almost 2 to 1, in hindsight, the set's design team could probably have pushed it even further, as despite the set's heavy presence of black cards and strategies, the mood of the set sometimes gets lost.
I don't think we went far enough. I don't think there was enough black cards in the set. That if we were going to do what we were going to do, I think we needed to push it a little more.
As a heavy black-oriented set, the color also bled over to the set's 4 other colors in the form of possessed creatures, which are creatures with a threshold ability that eventually turns them black, makes them stronger, and allows them to destroy a creature of their former color. There's also the set's cycle of Tainted Lands, which tap for colorless, or, if the controller also controls a swamp, tap for either black or one of a different color.
The idea was the set was, we wanted to make a black set, we wanted to enable at least a mono black deck, and we wanted to enable some multicolored decks that involved black. The mana is one of the cleanest and easiest ways to do that, and that's really what the Tainted cycle was trying to do, was help people play black, black X decks a certain way.
As the second set in the Odyssey block, Torment took the mechanics and abilities of the first set, Threshold and Flashback, and expanded upon them. The set also introduced a brand new mechanic called Madness.
Madness. This is Sparta!
Which allows players to play cards as they are being discarded. Like Flashback, the Madness ability would prove quite popular, making its return in Time Spiral, Shadows over Innistrad, Eldritch Moon, and Commander 2019. In fact, some of the most memorable cards from the set are those with Madness abilities, such as the popular burn spell Fiery Temper, Basking Root Walla, which can be played for free via Madness, and the above-average counterspell Circular Logic. Other powerful noteworthy cards found in Torment include the powerful non-targeting removal spell Chainer's Edict, and the 2-drop Nantuka's Shade, both of which being key cards in the strong mono-black control decks of the time, as well as Cabal Coffers, one of the best black mana-producing lands ever printed. Grim Lavamancer also makes its debut in Torment, and is considered by many to be a staple in Legacy burn decks. And for the first time since Magic's 4th edition all the way back in April of 1995, the iconic Sanger Vampire card was reprinted. Despite the card's popularity, however, it was not as warmly received as the folks at Wizards of the Coast were expecting.
People weren't that excited to see Sanger Vampire. I mean, some were. It had some following at the time.
So that was a bit of a whiff.
Swing and a miss.
Another whiff was the set's pre-release card, Laquatus' Champion, as the card never really saw much play. It is rather nifty, however, that Wizards of the Coast continue their practice of printing pre-release cards in a language never before seen on the Magic card. This time around,
the writing is Cyrillic,
which is used by many of the world's Slavic peoples.
Well, that's interesting.
One final thing of note about Torment is that it is the third Magic the Gathering set to share a name with a card that is not actually in the set. In this case, that would be the card Torment from Stronghold. The other two sets are Visions and Prophecy, which share their names with a card from Legends and Homelands, respectively.
Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
So is Torment amongst your favorite Magic the Gathering sets? If so, let us know in the comments section below. And be sure to subscribe to Magic Untapped on YouTube, and please support the channel by becoming a Patreon and throwing a buck in our tip jar. Thanks for watching.